Joining me now, NASA Administrator and former astronaut and Senator Bill Nelson. Senator, our country has been losing interest in space travel over the last few decades. But what happened yesterday, that can only happen in America. And what we saw just 2 weeks ago with Richard Branson. Can these events get America excited again?
America is already excited. First of all, you saw how excited Jeff Bezos was. And look at how America got excited about the Volkswagen-sized rover on Mars and then the little helicopter. And now all of this, plus Elon going into orbit, taking crews to and from the International Space Station. And Stephanie, at the end of the year, we're going to launch the largest, most expansive, the most thrust rocket that has ever launched off of the planet, the Space Launch System, which is going to take us back to the moon. So people are excited.
Does all of this show us that the government doesn't have to be responsible for funding everything? You've got these private businesses with these space flights doing all sorts of research and development, and the government uses their commercial crafts. Does this show us that government can work with private business and the taxpayer doesn't have to foot the whole bill?
Well, it's a combination. As a matter of fact, for example, the delivery of cargo and crew to the International Space Station, that's a fixed price contract with commercial companies. When we go to the moon, we're going on a government rocket, but we're going to then exchange crew into a landing on the moon on a commercial rocket. But when we send up the telescope that is going to look back almost 13 and a half billion years to the source of light right after the Big Bang, that's a government project. So it's a combination of all.
I want to share what Bezos believes we can and should do next. Watch this.
We need to take all heavy industry, all polluting industry, and move it into space and keep Earth as this beautiful gem of a planet that it is. Now, that's going to take decades and decades to achieve, but you have to start.
Do you agree with that? Are your priorities at NASA in line with Bezos and others? Let's take our waste and chuck it off the planet.
No, that's not what he said. He said, let's go out and discover, explore, and manufacture in space. And what he wants to do is to set up colonies in space. He wants to preserve planet Earth from becoming overpopulated, and certainly wants to preserve from such things as climate change by getting out and finding out new things and relieving some of that stress on Earth by going to space. What about if we go up into space and suddenly we create new sources of energy? Or what if we go and mine exotic materials on asteroids? There's so much potential out there, and he was correct. It's going to take decades and decades. But this is the excitement of the times that we are now living, Stephanie.
All right, then, Senator, thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. I want to bring in Scott Galloway and talk about the business side of this. He's a professor of marketing at NYU Stern School of Business and, of course, the co-host of the Pivot podcast. Scott, a lot of people out there say this was just a joyride for Bezos and his buddies, and he should be spending his money on other things. But can't we have it both ways? You can hate Jeff Bezos personally. You could be mad at how he pays his taxes or doesn't pay his taxes, but at the same time, think this is a pretty significant event.
First off, Stephanie, good to see you. And I just want to recognize you returning safely from Texas, I think, is an achievement for all mankind. Very inspiring.
Thank you.
Look, you summarized it perfectly yesterday. It's his money. He can spend it how he wants to spend it. But as an industry, Senator Nelson summarized it, I think, pretty well, and that is space hauling. We're going to go from 3,000 satellites to 50,000 satellites. The business of space hauling makes sense. I think the business of space tourism makes absolutely no sense. I think it's dangerous. I think it's expensive. I think the market is very small. I think you have the mother of all product market misfits. So ideally, there's some private-public benefit here. NASA and the Pentagon now have additional bidders for people to put things in space. But more than anything, I think it kind of reflects a shift in our values. The total budget of NASA is $22 billion. Jeff Bezos has added $100 billion to his wealth in the last 10 years and has paid a tax rate of around 1%. So essentially, we have decided to elect leaders who have said, we don't want to fund NASA. We want to find people who do amazing things here on Earth and make them responsible for taking us to the next frontier. I quite frankly have never seen anything that so many people tuned into that had so much disdain for. And I realize I sound cynical and I'm sitting on the shores of Spain being cynical, but I don't know, this feels uncomfortable to me. I'd be curious to get your thoughts, given that you were actually there.
I mean, I guess I kind of feel like disdain. Why? Who cares? It's Jeff Bezos' money. If really, really rich people want to fork over hundreds of millions of dollars for their vanity trips to outer space, what do I care? It's more business. That town I was in rural Texas, they could certainly use a lot more business. Go burn your money, rich people. I don't care. And if it means that business does a whole lot of research and development that then helps our government, have at it.
I think those are fair points. I said this yesterday. I'm nostalgic. So the youngest person in space was Sally Ride, and this was the daughter of a minister who got a PhD in physics and applied to NASA and was just an inspiring person. And now the youngest person in space is the 18-year-old son of a Dutch billionaire. Yesterday, Mia Jameson, who is an astronaut, was on with me, and she is an individual born in Alabama, master's in chemical engineering, got a medical doctor's degree, used that degree to go to Liberia, applied to NASA twice. I miss the days of Sally and May not sending up private equity kids.
Yes, me too. Yep. And that's why Mae Jemison is honored and on our television all day. And I've never said the name of that 18-year-old kid, and I never will again. So who cares what those rich people do? Don't we need to find a way to get them excited about a race to create climate, to solve climate change, not just get them excited about little boys and their big rockets?
I'm with you, sister.
They want to burn their money, do it.
But they're not only burning their money, they're burning our attention. I just find it kind of strange and a little bit weird that we seem to be obsessed over a rocket going up nearly to the Kármán line and then floating down, when 50 years ago we sent 3 brave people 250,000 miles, tried to land them on something rotating at several thousand miles per hour, and they get them home safely. And we're trying to position this as for all mankind. I think it would have been a lot cheaper if Mr. Bezos had taken a canary yellow T-top Corvette and crashed into a hair plugs clinic. I apologize for sounding very cynical here. I don't understand what the achievement was.